Welcome everyone. All right, I'm going to kick us off. So I'm super excited to be here. If you don't know me, like Jason said, follow me on LinkedIn. The kid, I prefer Venmo. Come on. So yeah, my name is Matt Denny, aka Mohawk Matt. They call me that. I show up. It works. So we're super excited to be here today for the intro to DevSecOps. And what does that mean? I don't know. I'm just here to look cool. Now, Rob and Bryan are going to really talk to some of that, but it's going to be a great opportunity. And I'm going to fix what I said before. It's intro to DevSecOps for government systems. I can see Rob glaring at me for saying the wrong words. So what we're going to talk about today is a lot of fun, exciting topics, some awesome sessions. We got some great speakers. We want feedback from you all. I hope this is hitting the target that you're all interested in. But first, I want to hit a few things to answer a few questions, kind of how the days are going to work, how the platforms are going to work, etc. So to do that, I'm going to share my screen real fast. So let's go view full screen. All right, so Rob, I can only see you, so I assume if you smile, that means you can see me. Perfect. So yeah. So what we're going to do is a few things. We're going to go what I call the operating agreement. First, we have some awesome partners that we have partnered with for this. This is being hosted by the wonderful Defense Unicorns. We've also partnered with the Linux Foundation and Catalyst Campus for Innovation and Technology. There's also a lot of great companies and speakers that we partnered to make this happen. So thank you to everyone that's been involved behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. You will see me, you will not see the 10 to 15 other people that have been doing all the work to put this together. Again, I just show up with gray hair and they do everything that matters. They're behind the scenes doing awesome things. So thank you everyone involved. How the flow and the speakers are gonna work is every session is built into the Zoom events platform that you guys got in through to hear from. And so every session is actually going to be a different session. You'll be able to leave and join. The reason we did that is because then that makes the recordings available for those sessions. That gives you an opportunity to engage with the speakers, to chat directly in those sessions. You can also download the slides and presentations. So all the presentations from today and tomorrow will be in those session tabs. You can go and download them. And I'll share that through each session as well as we go throughout the day. Interact in the lobby, network, find people. The reason we're using this platform Zoom event is because it gives you the ability to find people directly in the lobby, chat with them, get their information, maybe go connect, get a coffee in the real world. That's what part of this too. We've got some great speakers, but we also wanted to bring everybody together so you could just grow and learn from each other. As you have questions, problems, concerns, anything throughout the day, I want you to go and email lindy@defenseunicorns.com. There are more than one person watching this email. It's not just the poor Lindy sitting there alone. But yeah, so please, and I can't see the chat. All I can see is Rob laughing. So I'm sure there's great things going on over there. More gratitude, just grateful for everyone to be here. A few things I want to do is operating agreement. And I can't see you, but I assume you're raising your hand to this oath that you are going to be all in, because I'm all in. Our speakers are all in. Everyone involved is all in. We're super pumped. Just bring all of this to you. So all we ask is that you do the same. When we ask for chats, throw them in there. Ask questions. I want you to make these speakers sweat because you're asking them so many questions and great questions so that they can help you solve your problems every day. No judgment. There's no right or wrong answer in the chat, in the questions, in the whatever. Just get out there, ask your questions, support others for asking their questions. Be kind. People put time into these things. If you want to be rude, just go take a nap. That's what my niece always tells me, or go hug a teddy bear. That's what she says. So time box, how it's going to work is these are going to be pretty tight time boxes for the speakers. We're giving them plenty of time. But when it is time, I'll be jumping in for the Q&A sessions and also make sure we give you guys all a break, guys and gals. So how it'll work is we're going to start each session on the hour. And how that will be is they'll do their talk, then they'll move into question and answer. I'll jump in, help filter those Q&As out. And then we're gonna, at the 50 mark of every session, we're gonna give you guys a 10-minute break. So you're going on a 10-minute break, do what you want, take a snack, take a nap, all the things. Ask questions, be engaged. Here's your opportunity to learn from these people, connect and grow. As I said, here's the agenda, and anything that I'm doing here, my slides are in this first session. So I'm not a huge slide person usually, but we want to give you access to the agenda. You can go into the first session, download them. You can take a screenshot right now. So I'll leave this on for a second. I'm not going to run through each of these sessions because they're already built in multiple places. But this is today. This is day one. So this is what we're super excited about. So that's day two. This is day one. First technical glitch out of the way. Sweet. So this is day one. This is what we're looking forward to today. I'm super excited. Great speakers. Again, you can take a screenshot. I'll leave it here just for a couple more seconds. But this slide is also available in the lobby and in the session. You can download and upload it. And we'll be posting the sessions and times throughout the day as well. Here's day two if you want to take a screenshot of that one. These are the times. These all are in Mountain Standard Time. I know we got people from all over the world and country. We had to choose a time, so that's the one in the middle that we kind of chose. But so just kind of adjust in your head or do like I do and Google it because I'm not that smart most days. Day three is a whole new experience. We're going to move from Zoom over to Industry Day and how that works. Oh, we got people raising their hand like they want to come on the screen already. Day three is going to be Industry Day in what's called Gather Town, and that is going to be a metaverse experience, kind of like if you've ever played Zelda or maybe Pokemon. You can walk your character around. You can see the screenshot we took here in the middle is Michaela. So she and Lindy, they were clearly walking around at some point. Awesome chance for you to talk to the vendors, talk to all the speakers that came from companies today and tomorrow. They will be there. They'll have people there at those booths with information, ways to tell you about their technologies, their products, and great things they're doing in the world. Questions, throw them in the chat. Maybe you are. I'm going to check in 1 second. It's one thing I don't like about screen shares. It kills my ability to see anything. So before I pass it over to Rob and Brian here in a second, so make sure you two stretch so you're ready, Before I pass it to you guys, just looking at a couple things. Who got submarines? Great couple there. Couple things in the chat. Rob, anything in the chat I need to address? Crazy, I haven't been focused on it.
It's all good. Great job, Matt.
Fantastic. Well, then I get to go take a nap for like 12 minutes. And before I do that, oh, Brian's already sharing the screen. Look at that. I was going to introduce him, but he just introduced himself. So with that note, Bryan, Finster, Robert Slaughter, you are up.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate everybody taking time to be with us today. The first session that we have, it's going to be a short session that Bryan and I are going to give. First thing, though, for folks who don't know me, Bryan, can you go to the next slide? So I'm a dad of 2 kids. I'm the CEO of Defense Unicorns. I spent 10 years in the military and the co-founder of Platform One Space Camp and the Space Accelerator program. I'm honored to be joined by the one and only Bryan Finster.
Yeah, and I'm a motorcyclist and a photographer. I'm a value stream architect, which if anybody wants to know what that is, ask me later. I've been a software engineer for 25 years. I'm a contributor to minimumcd.org, dojoconsortium.org. I'm a board advisor for the Value Stream Management Consortium, and I'm somewhat associated with scaledagiledevops.com.
And the rest of the sessions for the next 2 days are very heavily focused on technology and key concepts. And what we wanted to do with all of this is just better educate the community. The decisions that you make within government systems have impacts across the entire world. And the concepts are constantly evolving, they're constantly changing. And the reason behind why we really wanted to host these events was to provide people the education and background that we thought they deserved and needed in order to just make better decisions. And so the better educated you are, the more you understand, the better decisions you can make, and the better decisions you make as government officials or contractors, then the better the world gets. And so first and foremost, the most important systems need better understanding. The next reason why this conference is so great and important is we have world-class speakers who actually care. Everybody on this list, all of the companies, we have over 20 companies participating. A lot of them are competitors, but they're all collaborating together in order to provide this learning session, this education program. All of them are here because they actually care about government systems. And then the last thing is that it's virtual. So you can participate in this. The sessions will be recorded. So even if you can't make the time, you can watch them later. How talks are structured. Matt already went over this, but 2 days of Zoom, third day on Gather. There'll be 2 to 3 people or organizations per topic. Speakers will give an introduction to themselves. They'll focus on the education thing. And at the end of their talk, they'll each sort of have a one slide like, hey, this is how to contact me. And this is why I was able to justify my presence here, and sort of give their pitch for whatever it is that they're working on as either a company or an organization or whatever they're passionate about. And this is a huge point, and is really the emphasis of this talk. DevSecOps is more about culture than it is technology. And so we're just going to spend a couple minutes talking about, really what DevSecOps means from a minimal perspective. Both myself and Bryan have another course with the Linux Foundation that is complementary to this, but has almost no overlap, called Intro to DevSecOps for Program Managers. That spends a lot of discussion time on process and culture. We'll have links to that later, but just stressing here that the culture aspects of DevSecOps are actually more important than even the technology aspects. And then I'm gonna toss it over to Bryan, I think, on this next slide to talk about what DevSecOps means from a minimal perspective. What is the minimal amount of, quote, DevSecOps any organization needs?
Oh, thanks, Rob. First, I want to talk about this definition that Donovan Brown from Microsoft wrote in 2015 about DevOps. It's the union of people, process, and products to enable the continuous delivery of value to our end users. And I want to focus on something here. First, it starts and ends with people, and it's about the continuous delivery of value. Tools are part of it, but tools are a very small portion of it. It's mostly about how we use things to help people. 2018, Accelerate came out with this statement here. It said, continuous delivery improves both delivery performance and quality, and also helps improve culture and reduce burnout and deployment pain. And I and others have experienced this firsthand. It's absolutely true. And there's a lot of good information in Accelerate. And one of those things is you want to do CD, but people don't read the book very much. But what they do say is, we need CD, do CD. And tools get thrown at teams, things get automated, but processes don't change. We don't change how the organization flows work or flows communication or talks to each other. And people don't see the outcomes Accelerate talks about. Or worse, things just start breaking because they start just deploying things without the learning required, or worse things. We've seen many worse things, they're just problems all over the place. And several of us were sitting at DevOps Enterprise Summit in the Gather virtual bar last year, and we were talking about these problems that we're seeing across the industry, and how we've literally seen companies ban continuous delivery because of these issues, because they didn't really understand what CD was. And we thought, we have 2 options. We can go out on LinkedIn or sit around the bar and drown our sorrows and gripe about it, or we could try to help fix it. So we chose number 2. So we set ourselves a goal at the conference. This was a conference project we were working on. We wanted a minimum set of behaviors that are true in every context. So number 1, they had to be measurable behaviors. We didn't want anything fuzzy. We wanted, yes, no, we can or can't do these things. It needed to be true whether you're delivering to the cloud or to an air-capped environment or anything in between. And we wanted them to be enabling constraints, things that, that force us down a path of making things better. That if we implement these, it will reduce pain and improve outcomes for the entire organization. And so then 3 days later, we published minimumcd.org. We started with Google Docs and decided that was not pretty. And so we invested a little bit in a static website, put this together. And a week later, we got a contribution from the co-author of the book Continuous Delivery, Dave Farley. He made a slight tweak to language suggested and added his signature to it. And where we are today on this is we've got 39 contributors globally, 133 stars on GitHub, and 124 signatories. And, really the focus on this is community helping community. And, Rob talked a little bit about minimum DevOps. You can't do DevOps without continuous delivery. And you can't very well do continuous delivery without a DevOps environment that you're working in. Those two things are very tightly coupled. So if we want to do DevOps, if we want real DevSecOps, we must be focusing on continuous delivery to make things better. And I want to talk a little bit about how the things that we identified in the sessions do make things better. And I encourage you to go out there. I'm only going to talk about a couple of things here because we're limited on time, but go out to minimumcd.org and take a look at the stuff that's out there. I promise you it helps. So the first one is continuous integration. And we define all of these things. We don't just say do continuous integration. We say this is what continuous integration actually is. It's tested changes integrate to the trunk at least daily. These are backwards compatible changes. They don't break anything. They don't have to be feature complete, but they have to be able to be deployable. And this is the next thing, is that to the best of our knowledge, they are deliverable. We're doing the most amount of testing we can in isolation. Later on, when we get to the continuous delivery testing, further down acceptance testing, we'll validate that more. But we're 85% confident before it leaves our desktop that this can flow to production. The next one's a cultural thing. Fixing a broken build is our highest priority. What we're trying to do is we're trying to integrate, everybody is communicating at the code level. We're trying to integrate all of our code together and verify that what we have built doesn't break. Sure, it didn't break on our desktop, but does it still not break when it's integrated with everybody else's code? But we can't do that if our build's broken. And so it's a teamwork behavior. If we have a broken build, then we need to stop what we're doing and fix it. Another cultural thing is it's a really bad idea to point to someone and say, you broke the build. That's entirely untrue. What it really is we as a team have not hardened our quality process, our pre-commit checks hard enough that the pipeline wasn't able to reject a bad change. So what can we do to improve that? It's all about teamwork. And then we just say to ourselves, why can't we do this? Why can't we do these things? And the very first time that I tried to do this, we were learning CD at Walmart. I literally wrote, why can't we integrate working code to the trunk daily on a piece of paper, put it up in our area, and we just start hammering at this problem every single day. And later on in the dojo, when I was working with multiple teams, we saw the same repeated problems on every single team. You see problems with communication, not just communication within the team, but communication flowing outside the team, not getting the right information in, or teams not understanding how to decompose work small enough. And when I say small enough, I'm saying that a story, if it takes more than a couple of days, is too big. If you have to use story points, it's too big. We need to learn how to break things down to get to the level of clarity. And you find that when you're trying to implement CI, that you lack the level of clarity to do the level of testing required that you can push tested code and have confidence that you're writing the right thing. You find problems with evolutionary development. People make changes where, oh, you can't deploy this until this other thing deploys, or we have to sequence these deploys together, or we have to hold off and put this on a branch because we have to wait for something else. You can't do that. You have to learn how to write things in a way where we can deploy it at any minute and it won't break anything. You find problems with testing. This is super common. Teams don't know how to test very well in a lot of cases because they've never been asked to test very well. But with CI, we have to have a high level of testing, and you learn to do that over time and you get really good at it. And then teamwork. I've seen so many teams where managers assign them work, or the team says, okay, for this sprint, these are my stories for the sprint. Well, that doesn't work for CI, because that means that I don't have the context to really help you when it's time to integrate your code. I want to do code review with you and make sure everything's good. I don't have the context to understand what it is. And without that level of teamwork, we just won't have the clarity required to test well. Overcoming this makes everything suck less. And I can't emphasize this enough. The level of morale improvement that occurred when we were able to do this well, we just enjoyed working together because we had so much more confidence, so much less fear, so much less drama. It was amazing. It was wonderful. So start here. This is really what you want to focus on. Another one is only one path to the environment. This means that I'm not going to go and make a change and then deploy from a dev branch to a dev environment, to a test branch to a test environment, or whatever. We have one pipeline. It goes to all environments. And what this means is it improves our quality process. We have to make sure that too much coffee, I apologize. Our quality process has to improve because that's the same quality process we're going to use to go to production. It reduces process overhead because I don't have to worry about managing how many environments I'm going to in different pipelines, and it just simplifies things. But it also means that we ensure we can safely resolve incidents because I have one process to go to every environment all the time. I don't have a hotfix process. We're testing not just the code when we're working this way. What we're saying is that I'm hardening the process we're using for delivery so that at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can do this safely. Which, think about this. If you've got a process where we're building something and then handing it off to a team to go and test it, will you be doing that when it's an emergency? And if not, how do we make that better? Because we don't want to be trying to work around and come up with some less safe process to go and fix an emergency than we would use for delivering a feature. And this is really the secret of continuous delivery, is that it's always an emergency. We always treat every change as a hot fix because that forces us to get really good at fixing things. So when it is an emergency, it's far less dramatic. I can't tell you how many war rooms I've sat in where we're just crossing our fingers and hoping that we're not throwing gasoline on a fire, trying to bring up a distribution center that's gone down. Then the next one is the pipeline decides what's releasable. And for this one, we can't inspect for quality at the end. It's really common for people to build things and then go and see if it was the right thing to build, if it had the level of quality required. We don't do that. Instead, what we do is we build quality into our system of delivery. We certify that the pipeline is verifying the quality that we need. We take this constraint seriously. We need to evaluate how we decide things are deliverable. Are we making objective decisions? Are we saying, well, this is how I feel about it? We can use data to decide whether or not we are validating the right things. We're also forced to take a hard look at how we approach security and compliance. And this is very important. I've frequently seen audit come in and audit the compliance of something that's already been in production for 6 months of the year. Okay, did that make us more compliant? It's simply theater to do occasional checks for these after delivery. Security is the same thing. You don't inspect for security at the end. You build security into the flow of work so that every commit is secure. This is far more effective. And if we certify the pipeline is secure and certify the pipeline is compliant and certify that it will, to the best of our ability, block problems, then we can move really fast and have a high level of confidence that things are fine. It means that the pipeline it becomes a safety net to make it easy for us to deliver these things. We're not just checking to make sure that we're functional and performant. We're checking everything about it and making it easy for people to focus on the business problem they're trying to solve instead of worrying about whether they did it securely and met all of the policy documents that someone saved to a drive somewhere. What we're talking about here is not a checklist or maturity model. It's an improvement journey. It's things that there's 9 things on the website that we say solve these problems, and solving these problems makes everything better over time. And it is a journey. It takes time. You can't go from 0 to 100 on day 1. It will take time. But they are things that you can say, we can or can't do these things, and then start working on them. They're measurable objectives. Going on this journey will uncover problems that you may be numb to or didn't even know were problems in your environment. You can choose not to fix them, but at least they won't be hidden anymore. So where do we start? Define what releasable means in your context. And that could be contextual to your organization, but most likely it's contextual to each application. Not every application is going to have the same definition of releasable. Fall passionately in love with testing. When we started down this journey, we didn't know how to test at all. And we had to dig in and understand it's not just unit tests. We definitely didn't want a whole bunch of end-to-end testing. We had to figure out all of the layers of testing so we could quickly and efficiently find out if there's problems. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, we could have a high level of confidence we didn't break anything. Start with CI. CI is the beating heart of everything. It's going to start uncovering a lot of handoffs and communication issues within your organization, I promise you. And all of those are going to, as you start working inside out, this is where DevOps comes in. This is this idea of improving the flow of communication through the organization. Start automating manual validation of releasable. Don't just say, okay, we're going to automate and we're going to remove all the manual. You still have to do the validation that you're doing now, but the manual steps that you have today are defects. You don't say, okay, well, we have to do this manual step. It is a defect if you're doing manual validation before the release. But find ways to automate them, work on it, and then improve your ability to deliver with fewer hands on keyboard. Improve team structure, remove handoffs, do value stream mapping of how work flows. Take a hard look at the different handoffs that are happening between teams and look at that team structure to make sure that we can cleanly flow work with minimum friction through the value stream. And then relentlessly improve how you do that. Every single day, take a look at what's causing pain. You know, as Jez Humble says, if it hurts, do it more. Find those things that hurt and make it better. I recently had a test in my test suite on one of my applications was running for 3 minutes. That is really, really long time when you're waiting for a pre-commit check for 3 minutes. It encourages you to go get a cup of coffee instead of continuing on with the flow of work. I just hammered at that because it was causing me pain and made it 3 times faster. It's those small things every single day, just relentlessly improve. So that, and this is a very condensed version of a talk that I'm giving at DevOps Enterprise Summit next week. I encourage you to register for that too, if you care to, but go to minimumcd.org, take a look at it. If you agree with it, submit a pull request, add a signature. If you see some information that you think you'd like to enhance, submit a pull request, open an issue, have a conversation, join the Slack org, get involved with the community as we try to make this better for everybody. With that, as Rob said, we have our intro to DevSecOps for managers. That's a broader scope that covers many things around everything that needs to improve. It's got a lot of content. We put a lot of work into it. We've got a lot of really positive feedback from people that have reached out to me and Rob and others who were part of this to tell them how much it's been helping them. So take a look at that and let us know what you think. And Rob, I think it's next to you.
Yep. As I mentioned at the end of everybody's talk, all the speakers will give a slide of really just advocating for how they kind of justified taking all this time to educate people. At Defense Unicorns, one of the products we're best known for is Zarf. Zarf is a CD continuous delivery tool for secure systems. It's predominantly used currently for air gap systems. Think of it as sort of airplane mode, but for the cloud, how you can sort of package the cloud up and then go and deploy that to any system, including air gap, on-prem, edge, and secure clouds. Distro agnostic also includes your software bill of materials, which will probably be, you'll hear that name, I think, a couple times throughout these sessions. And then as a company, we also have a GSA phase 3 that's DoD wide. If Zarf or anything that we do at Defense Unicorns is interesting to you, please just shoot us an email at hello@defenseunicorns.com. The Zarf link is also on the slide, but I will plug it here into the chat as well. Open source and free. GitHub stars are always welcome. So if you use the product give us a shout out, or if you're interested in learning more, just send us an email. Bryan, last slide. And then the last thing was just wanted to thank all of you for taking time today to sit through this. I hope you enjoy the show. I'm sure there'll be plenty of technical difficulties throughout. Remember, this is an experiment. We just wanted to see if there was enough interest in taking time and educating people about, across both government and industry. And so give us your feedback. There'll be several opportunities to get some swag and to give us some great feedback. If this goes well, we intend to have this again. So very, very much value your time and hope you guys enjoy the rest of the sessions.